Hello, everyone. My name is Tricia Stringer, and I'm very excited to be here tonight as part of the Better Reading Live program. It's really good to be talking to you, hoping that will eventually be some people out there to say hello to, and I can see a few popping in already, so that's great. So my name's Tricia Stringer, and I am here to talk to you about my very new book. It's only just come out a week ago today, Keeping Up Appearances. And I'm coming to you tonight from the Limestone Coast, which is a long way from my home. That's in southeastern South Australia. And it's a lot of fun to be on the road and traveling with my new book. And so, yes, a little motel room on the road we are in. And I can see some people are popping in. And, someone's saying a black screen, so hopefully that can be fixed soon. Hi, Christine Chauveau. Hi, Kim. Oh, dear. Screen is black, so I'm hoping that Dex will fix that for me. But hopefully you can hear me, so that's good. And I have got a little glass, because I'm on the Limestone Coast. I went and found one of my very favourite Sauv Blancs. So I've got a little glass of Wangalina Sauv Blanc here. And so I hope that you've got a glass of your favourite, whatever it might be, to join me tonight on Better Reading Live. And good to know that the sound is fine. And I think we're working on that on the picture. So bear with us for the moment. I'm hoping that might have made a difference. And I can see, who else is here on the side? I can see Sabine and Bronwyn. Hi. Hi, Bev. And glad to know that you can all hear me. That's really good. And Kim. Linda, hi. And Carol. Carol's all the way in the Blue Mountains. I bet it's chilly and wet there. Gosh, it's been very, very wet on the drive down here today. Hi, Rach, and hello, Wendy from the Fleurieu Peninsula, so not very far from where I was this morning. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to have people there. Oh, good. They're telling me that they can see me now. That's excellent. Hi, that's good. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about my very new book that has just come out in the last week. It's called Keeping Up Appearances, and I just love the cover, of course, as I always do with my new book, but really love this one when I saw it, because who wouldn't love their name in gold on the front cover like this one is? Really thrilled about that. So if you've just joined us, I'm Tricia Stringer, and I'm here to tell you about Keeping Up Appearances. This is the story of three women who are living in a small country town. And the country town could be just anywhere in Australia, really. And the youngest is Paige. She's moved there with her young family, and she's actually running away from something. So she's come to this small country town in the hope that she can hide. And then she meets Bryony, who's a local farmer's wife. And Bryony is all about keeping up appearances. Her three adult children have moved home to live with them, and she really doesn't like their life choices. And then there's Marion, and Marion is Bryony's sister-in-law. She's another farmer's wife, and she is doing everything in her power to stop a 50-year-old time capsule from being dug up, because she knows that there are things inside it which could be hurtful to those living in the small town. So if you bury a secret in a small town, you better make sure you bury it deep. And that is just a little taste of Keeping Up Appearances. And I'm just going to have a look at these messages now. Thank you, Tracy. It is a great cover. I love it. And Bev is looking forward to reading the book. Thank you, Bev. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks, Rainey. I'm glad you love the cover too. Kim bought the book last week, and she's looking forward to starting reading it. So that's great. Jackie's just finished Birds of a Feather, and that's also on the screen. You can see that was my book from last year, and so glad to know that you're looking forward to the new one. Thanks, Christine. I think all the covers are gorgeous too. Every time I see one, I think, gosh, they can't be doing better than last time, but they sure are. And am I just moving down? Sometimes these are jumping. Hi, Linda. Glad you can see me too. Just read a review of the book, and there have been some good ones. And I thought that I would share a little bit with you tonight because Better Reading, the lovely people at Better Reading, wrote a great review for me. And I've just jotted down a few of the notes here that I'm going to share with you. It's not the whole review, but just a few of the highlights because they really stuck out for me. Once again, Stringer has crafted a cast of complex, compelling characters connected through the community. By the closing pages, you're a part of this feel-good community and reluctant to leave. So I hope that as readers that you will find that. And I can see that people are saying, some people have started it. Helen says, I finished Keeping Up Appearances yesterday. It was so good. I loved it. Thank you, Helen. That's great. Sharon, looking forward to reading it. Deb's saying she loves it. Thanks, Deb. And Christine cannot wait to read that one. Deb, also saying she loved The Model Wife. Thank you. Yes. Just moving my way down now. Oh, Narelle, high praise. Thank you very much. That's Narelle says she loved the book and it's her favourite so far. A few people have actually said that to me, so that's really lovely to know because, you know, when you put that book out there, you never know what people are going to think after reading the one before. Was that their favourite and they're not going to like this one? So it's great to know that you have. And Lisa, hi, started it last night and she's loving it. Hi, Jessie. And Kylie, hi, Kylie. What made me want to be a writer? That's a great question. Thank you, Kylie. I started out, I was a teacher and a librarian, and I started out wanting to write stories for children about local history on the York Peninsula. And so that got me started. And then I realised, of course, how little I knew about writing a story, getting it all the way through to the end. Lots of us start stories, we don't always finish them. So I did a children's writing course, and I really think that was such a great foundation for all my future writing attempts. And then went on to dabble with rural romance after that. I knew that I was writing these stories about contemporary country Australia, but I didn't really know where they fitted. And around that time, a lot of other people were beginning to write rural romance too. So that's how I got onto the writing. And once there, I was hooked, couldn't stop. Thanks, Kylie. Great question. Sharon is asking how I choose my character names. And Sharon, they can come from absolutely anywhere. Sometimes, as in the case of this story, one of the main characters is Marion. And she was Marion right from the first moment I imagined her. She was just Marion, and that's what fitted. But sometimes the other characters, it takes me a little while to come up with the name. And I look in all kinds of places for names. Sometimes there are lots of great lists on the internet. And then, of course, there are baby name books. And I keep a list myself, a little book that I record names in when I hear them. You know, it's perhaps something a bit unusual or a great combination that sounds good, and jot them down. So then when it comes to writing the story, I've got this huge raft of names to choose from, and then the right one usually comes along. But sometimes it takes a bit of thinking through to work out, you know, which one is going to be right for which character. So thanks, Sharon. Cheryl says, I finished reading this lovely book yesterday and didn't want it to end. Well, thank you. That's a bit like the Better Reading review said. I once lived in a small town like that one, and I now live in Newcastle. Oh, hi. That's lovely to know where you are. Hi, Marg. Love all your books, Tricia, and this one is a real winner. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you very much. I will take that and I'll have a little cheers. Joy Bell, hi. Loved all your books and now reading a new one and loving it. So that's great to hear too. Thank you. Rainy's looking forward to reading it. And thank you, Marg. I will keep up the good work. Next year's book is well underway. So that's always a good thing, isn't it, to know that for all of us. Still just moving along through the list now. Thanks, Kylie. Kylie saying congratulations. Rainey saying cheers. I hope you're having something. Well, you can tell me what it is that you've got perhaps in your glass at your house. Hi, Louise. Nice to hear from you too, and I'm glad that you could be here. I thought one of the other things that I wanted to tell you about in this story was somebody at an event last night mentioned that food is often in my books, and I think that it is a common thread. I do like to include food, and I think it's part of that companionship and that family and getting together, as we often do so over food, don't we? And so in Birds of a Feather, that was set in my local area, and of course I wanted to include the Spencer Gulf prawn fishing in that. So of course there were the king prawns, and also the Balfour's frog cake, some of you may remember, which is a South Australian icon. In this book, Keeping Up Appearances, Marion, who is one of the main characters, loves to bake sausage rolls, and she is very good at it, and she whips them up so easily, and she uses them to welcome newcomers to the area, or she might give them as a gift for someone, a pick-me-up for someone who needs it, someone perhaps not well. And she's even been known to give the gift of sausage rolls as a bribe. So my lovely publisher has put together these postcards, which are really great, with the book on the front. And then on the back, we've put the recipe for Marion's sausage rolls, which are sausage rolls just made with sausage mince and a few other ingredients, and chicken sausage rolls, because they're the other type that Marion likes to make. So these two recipes are really a combination of things from my family. My daughter really loves to make the sausage mince sausage rolls, and she's got a little secret ingredient that she puts in there. And my son, my youngest son, loves chicken sausage rolls, and he put together this recipe. So we're calling it the recipe for the book, but really I guess they've been in our family for a little while. And my daughter and I did a big bake up leading up to the launch of Keeping Up Appearances, and we had sausage rolls at the local launch in my home area of the Copper Coast. And then I was also able to have enough to take to Adelaide to the West Lakes Library, where we had sausage rolls there as well to share at the launch. I'm really sorry for those of you who I might be visiting further on down the track. I've run out of sausage rolls now, so I can't bring any more. But I'm hoping that when we catch up, you might be able to pick up one of these recipe cards. Great bookmark as well, and you might like to try to make some of our sausage rolls. I'm sure there's some great sausage roll cooks out there already anyway. Hi, Jane. Thank you. You read it over the weekend. Love it. Thank you very much. Who was my favourite character? Oh, golly, that is so hard always, isn't it? But I think I really liked Marion. She's a very strong woman who sticks to her convictions. She doesn't give in easily, and she does her best for everybody. She's got the community at heart, but as I alluded to at the start, something happens that threatens something she did as a child that threatens that. And I think I got thinking about this myself when I was thinking about some of the things that I did as a teenager, and thought, gosh, I'm so glad no one ever found out about that. Or, it was something that, luckily it was never discovered. And you think, you do silly things as a teenager, and that's how we learn from our mistakes. But in the case of this story, that mistake has travelled 50 years into the future. And so for Marion, it's a terribly tough time if that happens to be revealed. So I think I really liked her character, and I also loved her relationship with her husband, Len. So probably those two were my favourite people in the story, but they were all great fun. I really enjoyed getting to know them all. Kylie, how long does it take me to write the book after I've come up with all the ideas? The ideas are there mulling for a long time. And then, so if I sit down at the start of the year, which is my usual time, about February, at the start of each year to start a new book, I finish it over the first draft over the period of months leading forward, and then there's editing and so on. So from the moment that I start writing to the moment that the finished book ends up in your hands, it takes nearly 2 years. So it's quite a process to get to get to that. So I have got this book that I'm talking to you about now, but of course in my head I've got the book that I am currently writing, ready for next year. And then I often think, there's a third book lurking, and that's the one that I'm kind of starting to ponder for the year after that. So, but about 2 years, I guess, from start to till you get it, from me starting it to you having it. Carol, love this idea. Is that the sausage rolls I'm thinking that you might be thinking of? So hope we might be able to share at least the recipes with people in the future, if not the actual sausage rolls. Hi, Joy Bell. Do I have many friends who are authors? I sure do. The author community is a very close one in many ways, and we all love to catch up when we can. So there's often opportunities at author events or workshops or get-togethers, and so I do love to do that. But also we keep in touch, just emails, ringing each other. It just depends, who you know and how you keep in touch. We share social media ideas. We like to share each other's books. So lots of ways. And yes, authors are great people to have as friends because they understand an author's life, and sometimes family and close friends don't always get what you're talking about. So it is nice to be able to sometimes just have a good long chat with another author who understands what you're going through sometimes as an author. So yes, I do have lots of author friends. Don is asking me how many hours a day I spend writing. That varies, Donna. It's a great question, and I can never really pin it down. When I'm writing that first draft, that is really the hardest work for me. So that's a daily work of trying to achieve around about 2,000 words a day until I finish. And so sometimes I can get that done by lunchtime, and other times it takes me all day and I still don't quite get there. So it varies, but yes, that first draft is just a hard slog, I guess, just sitting down, writing. And then comes what I call more the fun part, is when you're editing and teasing out things that you hadn't seen as you went through the first draft, and chopping and changing a few things and just adding to the story to make it better. Hi, Lindsay. Am I coming up to Brisbane for an author talk? Not this time. I'm really sorry. It's been a few long years of us not being able to leave our home states to do events. And so at last, fingers crossed, I'm so close to the border of Victoria now. I can almost smell it. I'm thinking I'm actually going to get across that border very soon. So on Friday, I've got more events in South Australia coming up tomorrow, and then I'm actually over the border into Casterton in Victoria, and then next week I will be doing lots of events in Victoria. And it's just very tricky. We're sort of just taking it slowly this first year out of COVID. So I'm hoping next year that I will certainly go a bit further afield, and definitely Brisbane will be on the list. I have family in Brisbane, so for no other reason to come and see them, but I do love to see readers as well. Oh, Rainey, I love sausage rolls too. Although I tell you what, after we made so many dozen, I was getting a little tired of them by the end, but they are just so yummy, aren't they? Very delicious. Carolyn's asking, who are some of my favourite authors? I have many favourite authors. I read all sorts of things. At the moment, I'm reading Marion Keyes, and I haven't read one of hers for ages. So it's one of her books that came out, I think it was only this year. But I read all sorts. I read crime, I read action, I read adventure. So I enjoy all sorts of things. I like Monica McInerney. She's one of my favorites. Fiona McIntosh, Rachel Johns. There are just so many that I enjoy. Historical. As I said, I read pretty much anything. So it's hard to say I've got a favourite author. I've got a lot of authors on my shelf who I make sure I buy their latest book. And some of you I know are like that. You have to have every one of that author's books. Well, I'm just the same. I like to keep them too. So Sometimes I borrow from the library, but if it is one of my favourites, I usually buy a copy and put it on the shelf after I've read it. Hi, Kim. Kim is saying, I love the way you link favourite family food in your books. Yes, it is a bit of fun, isn't it? And I think, as I said, it's because of that link to family or that link to friendship that we often have over food. And so it's easy to slip that in. Sharon's asking what I like to read. I think I just went over that, but I'm just trying to think what else is on my list. I have a huge to be read pile, and if you follow me on Instagram, I do post there every time I finish a book. And also then at the end of each month, I put whatever I've read the month before, I put that on my Facebook page as well, if you don't have Instagram. So I do share my reads there, and you'll see all the different sorts of things I read. Prior to the book I'm reading now, I read Archie Roach's life story. So that was a very interesting read, and took me longer to read because it was a biography, and I found it a little bit heavy going sometimes, sad in places, happy in others. And so it took me a while to get through that one, but I did enjoy it. And I was glad I did read it rather than audio it, because it had lots of photos in it, and it was great to be able to look at those. Jane says, I loved Marion and Len. Thank you, Jane. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I really enjoyed getting to know them in my story as well. Linda says, ladies from Mum's Cottage, love your books. Thank you. One day I'd love to visit the ladies from Mum's Cottage. And Linda says she's been promoting this one. My readers in library relate to your characters in your last 5 books, especially Family Inheritance and Birds of a Feather. So thank you. So the last 5 have all been what we call general fiction or women's fiction. So obviously there's something in that style that your ladies at the Mum's Cottage are enjoying. Hi, Mark. How many books? I've written 15 books for adults, a few for children, but they're no longer in print, but 15 for adults. So 7 rural romances, 3 historicals, which are linked, so I kind of call them a saga, and now 5 of the general fiction or women's fiction. Jenny says, just finished and loved it. Thank you, Jenny. Glad you enjoyed. And Carol says, besides cooking sausage rolls and writing, do you have time for any other pastimes? Oh, most definitely. I like to keep fit, and I've managed to include that in this story too, in keeping up appearances, because the women of the town have got together and they've made up a fitness group. So they've got an instructor, and they're getting together in the old hall, and they meet every week and have a fitness group. So I actually kind of got a bit of that idea from my own fitness group. I like to keep fit, so I go 2 or 3 times a week to our local rec centre and do just some fitness classes there. I like to walk. I like to kayak. I don't do it very often, but I do like to get out on the water and do that. And I'm a crafty sewing sort of person, so I quite often dabbling, and I've made a few frocks for this tour. But tonight here it's just a bit chilly for the frocks, so I'm having to put long sleeves on. But yes, I'm hoping they'll get an airing. I've worn them a couple of times, hoping they'll get an airing further on. So yeah, all sorts. And of course, family keep me busy. I have 2 grandies and 3 grown-up children and their partners, and we love to catch up. So that sort of thing is what keeps me busy. Deb, hi. She's saying, hi, Happy Valley Books read. They must be, hi guys, if you're here. Thanks. Oh, that's fine, Donna, for answering the question. Oh, Jessica says she was born in Casterton and lived there for a few years. Well, I shall wave to you, wave to it for you, Jessica, when we go. Hi, Kylie, you're in Adelaide. And yes, Kylie, it is again Rachel. That is what I am reading. That is the book that I was talking about. Joy Bell says, do you read Sally Hepworth books? Yes, I do. She is, you're saying she's a local favourite for you. And yes, I've read a few of Sally's, and I do enjoy them too. Cindy, hi, Cindy, this is great. Can't wait to meet and see you in Mildura. I'm looking forward to that too. So that's in a couple of weeks' time. I'll be heading up to Jamestown, which is in South Australia, over the border to Broken Hill, and then down to Mildura and loop back round via Renmark on our way home. So that will be a great trip, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Mildura because a few years since I was last there. Tricia is saying Lindsay McMillan is one of my favourite authors. Okay. I don't know Lindsay, I'm sorry. So, unless you're telling Lindsay, oh, sorry, I'm a bit confused by that. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Meryl. That's great. And hi to Phil and Craig. It's nice to see you there. I'm so glad you enjoy my books, and thank you. The latest is another triumph. That's very, very kind of you to say so. Hi, Joy Bell. All of the information about my tour, I should say, is on my website. If you go to www.triciastringer.com, in the events, it'll give you all the details. So if there's any places that you want to find out about that I'm coming to, that's where you'll find all the information. Hi, Sue. Just finished Birds of a Feather. Loved it, and a few other of my books. Looking forward to keeping up appearances. Well, I hope you will enjoy it. And yes, I'm looking forward to seeing people in Geelong as well. That will be a great event at the Dome there. I'm looking forward to that. I've been to Geelong and walked around the Dome on the outside, but haven't been inside. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. And I'll be in conversation there with fellow author Tanya Farrelly. So that will be a bit different and nice to do that together when we get there. And now I think I've covered everything. I'm just checking my little list because there were things that I wanted to tell you about. Keep up with me on Facebook or Insta. And if you like to get a newsletter with all the latest bits and pieces, I do have a quarterly newsletter that I send out, and you can join up to that on my Facebook page or on my website. There are links to that. So if you would like to hear some of the little bits of behind the scenes, and I do try and keep some things just for newsletter readers to hear first before I announce on social media. So that's just a nice thing to do if you like newsletters. It's been great. It's flown by. I'm just looking at the clock and thinking, gosh, my time is nearly up. I hope I've answered all the questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing more people on the road. I know not everybody, I can't see everybody, so thus this wonderful Facebook Live event. So it's been really nice to catch up with you all tonight. And here's my latest book, Keeping Up Appearances. I do hope that you are and will enjoy it, and look forward to catching up with you again real soon. Okay, good night, everybody.